Hello guys and welcome. My name is Paolo Capra, but call me Paul. This is the second video of this series about HTML. I hope you already downloaded the Visual Studio Code and I hope that you also downloaded the live server plugin. I'm not going to show you how to do it because it's too simple. And so, what about if you didn't open a new file? You can open an empty folder on the Visual Studio. You could open any folder. For example, I already have this one. But if you want to open a new folder, is right start folder, etc. Then you open it and you can edit files from here. So the first file of an HTML document is always called index.html. So it's a well-being that you mustn't stop doing it. Then you can create any kind of documents that you want, contact me.html, email.html, whatever you want, but the first one has to be index.html. Okay, said this, let's begin with our course. So I have created a small section of the topics that I'm going to cover today. So the structure of an element, nested elements, block and inline element, void element, attributes of elements, quotation mark, anatomy of HTML documents, how to include special characters, and comment. So first, what is an element? An element is this one. This one is an element. This one, and more simple. Let's take this one that is open, and this is an element. How is structured? Well, very simple. You can see it, but for very beginners, this is the tag. It has an opening tag, a content, and a closing tag. Yes. And you always have to open the closing tag inside to have your closing tag. Yes, you have to close all the tags. To make an example, if you don't close tags, it's like you have a box and you leave it open, or is infinite. So your programming IDE will try to interpret your language like it's something else, and it will be a disaster. So always close tags, remember to do it, and that's it about the elements. What is a nested element? A nested element is something like this. For example, this could be I wanted something different. So for example, this element, inside this element, inside our element P, there is this element that is first, then my, and then I put my here. Strong makes things bold, and this element. Then I want to show you. I didn't tell you, but with live server you can see the. Your HTML document on live, whatever you want. Yes, there is a word. Sorry about that, but this is the point. The point is here. You see my first paragraph. And what if I delete strong? I delete just strong. I did it strong. I think it already did it, but okay, I will launch it again. And of course, then I forgot a space, but the strong element has gone. So yes, it's pretty simple. You can have elements inside elements. Is a little complicated to say it, but not to be done. So let's do it again. So in this case, you have an element that is P, and P, and the content is this one, is the whole this one. Then you have another element inside it that is strong, and the element is the content inside is first. So this is about the nested elements. Another thing about the nested elements, I think it's enough. Let's talk about block and inline. Why there is a difference between block and inline. Block elements like P. There are elements that occupy an entire line on its own, and the elements that occupy the stative part of the line. Why this? The reason is that a block element like P occupy an entire line because it has a content inside. Like it's very simple. This is an open paragraph and forth. Is different for strong, which doesn't has a content inside. The point of strong is another one, is to give a characteristic to your code, to your text. Like for example, for example here it makes first bold. A is another thing. We don't talk about A or EM, but it's the same. They are inline elements. They occupy only a little part of the inline. I want to show you a little trick that applies to this one. For example, this first part of element is pretty simple to be read, even if you don't know anything about coding. If I do it like this, it becomes a total mess. And if I do like this is a shortcut. You put Alt -F, and it returns the same. So just to remember, Alt -F reorder your code on the hierarchy that is standard. And the same if you want. If I would like to prove what I said, that P and strong and A, they are different in quality, I do like this. Sorry, I do like this. Then I highlight everything. And I put Alt -F, and as you see, P and P they return on different lines because they are block line, and strong A and EM they are inline element. So they stay on the same line. I think I explained it quite well. I hope you understood. Then let's move on into void elements. I was looking at this piece of code, from Mozilla developer, which is a interesting piece of guides. But here it says a void element is an element that cannot have any child nodes, too complicated. And what is important, void elements only have a start tag, and tags must not be specified for void elements. So what I said before was slightly wrong, because there are elements that doesn't need to be closed. Yes, there are. Void elements do. And why? Because they don't have content, and the content is just the attributes, but we will talk about attributes later. The void here is some shit about too complicated even for everybody. The void elements in HTML are as follow. Let's all these elements, but let's just focus on img element. So here I had this picture of the I have this image source from nowhere, and I show you here what I want to put your attention to is that I open the quote. Where is it? I open the quote, I put image, but I don't close it. It's not closed, otherwise it wouldn't do anything. Then I use source, which is an attribute. I will talk about it later. Then equal to, I put the link of this word. I put the link of this word. I put it the link. I put it in double quotes. double quotes, I put it myself, it wasn't put. And then if you open it in a live server, it shows the picture that I wanted to show. So this element is void because in itself doesn't have content. The content is given from the attributes. Of course, now we will talk about attributes. The attributes is just some elements can have attributes, some element might not, and some element can have multiple attributes. But take this as an example. This element is the attribute, so is the information of image, in the meaning that this is the I can say the content, but the content is trivial, no? But is the information of image. Same can be like this one. Unfortunately, I don't have many examples. I wanted to do something different, but doesn't matter. I don't have it, but I created it. Lang, this is for maybe I'm wrong now, but this is for to create the language. I specify the language of my text, of my HTML document. For example, it could be English or Italian. Is a little more advanced, blah blah blah. But the point is, this is an attribute of the HTML element. Pretty simple. I think you understood. About lang, I can only say that it's not really relevant right now, but once you but it is relevant for the crawlers of the Google. If you have a little knowledge of the SEO, you will know what I mean. This put your website into different rankings, so if people search it, some people find it, some other people don't. But that's not to talk about this any longer. So we talked about the attributes of an element. We should talk about the quotation marks. Okay, let's talk about quotation mark. I think most of you already know what I'm going to say, but let's say it anyway. This double quote can be a single quote. This is it. It can be. It's not an error. Now it's an error, but if I do like this, if I do like this, it's the same. I print it. If you print it on the console, it's the same. But what if I write don't? If I write don't, of course this is an image, but it could be text, and I put don't here. That apostrophe, that single quote that I put will be recognized from the IDE as a part of the code, not part of the text, and so here is it. It's frozen error, and it doesn't shows it. So yes, you must take a little care about it to be consistent. My opinion, stick with double quotes when you can, and because generally you don't use double quotes into text, you use single quotes, but same goes for double quotes. And that's it for quotation mark. Anatomy of HTML documents, but let's talk about before of comments, because this is a comment now, and maybe some of you have asked what is this and why it doesn't show inside. Well, this is not part of the code, and it doesn't do anything. Is not relevant for the code in itself, but can be really relevant for developers. For example, if you write revisit, just to make an example, revisit, and then double. Okay, so in this case, if you put this, you open the live server, there is no revisit, and if I take off these, then it will be shown in the live server. Revisit. Okay, what is this for? This is because one day you will make a website, and 1 year later you will open the code and you would understand nothing of it, or your friend will open it and will understand nothing of it. So you have to comment sometimes to make people understand what you have written inside your text. Okay, what else? The structure of a document. Anatomy of HTML documents. Now I want to show you something. I open another document that is empty, and it's text.html, and I show you an interesting shortcut. If you press -1, sorry, only one time. If you press -1, it comes that sign. I don't know how to say it in English actually. And if you press tab, it comes a very interesting, simple HTML documents. But I think it will be very useful for the beginning. So -1 tab, and you open a simple HTML document. What are the structures of these HTML documents? This is an historical thing that maybe I even told you already what is for. Anyway, I don't want to spend my time. Most important thing, opening of the HTML. This is a must. Why? Because this say to the IDE, I'm going to write in HTML. Maybe you were writing because multiple programming language can be together, can be written near with each other. So here you could write in JavaScript or in PHP, and if you don't write it here, then the IDE would go mad. But now the IDE knows that you are going to write in HTML till here, the end of the HTML. So very important. I already said what is lang, and the main two parts. There are two main parts: the head and the body. The head is not the head of an element is not a header. The header is something different. The header is the upper part of the site where there is the logo, the menu, and etc. etc. The head is the head of the document, and inside there are extra information that will not be shown on the screen, but they are important. For example, the first is the title. I want to talk about the title, which is not the title of the, for example, here I have my title. Yes, I have my title, and is the title not the title of the page inside the page. You see, it's not here. This is the domain name is here. HTML for the beginner is the title of the page, not in the page. Okay, about meta. About meta, I don't have it here, sorry, but here there is meta, and we don't talk about this because it's about the browsers and other stuff, the SEO, the browsers, etc. We don't talk about this now. And of course, this is more or less what is a head. The head is not shown inside the screen. What is shown is the body where you put things. So here there is my body. Where is the body? My first heading, my first paragraph, and this is what you're going to see inside here. So yes, my first heading, etc. etc. Yes, this is what is the main parts of the HTML documents. Then what else? How to include special characters. This is the real last thing that you probably will never face. This is a real special character, but I want to show you it more in depth, because sometimes maybe you have shown in some places in some websites that they do not have sometimes you saw a piece of symbol that is not shown. Why? Because they put it inside the code, but it couldn't write it. actually, if I try it now, if you do it like this, now, for example, it will for sure read it, because it's made is brand new, is a brand new downloaded IDE, so it will read it and it will be shown up. Let's see. Yes, it will probably read everything, so I don't want to find this error, but it can happen. For example, if you go here, let's see, like these symbols that you don't barely never use, they might not be recognized by your IDE, and you have to use this. So for example, this sign, I don't know if it writes it or not, but if you cannot put, for example, this fraction, the fraction, I never found the fraction in my life. For example, this fraction, I put it inside my IDE, I delete something, I put it inside my IDE, this symbol, I open it in the live server, I hope it works, and it works, yes, that might be useful one day. For example, me, I'm going to a university, and many times there was this text with 4 for the power of 4, and you never understand if it's 4 for the power of 4 or 4 multiplied by 4, and it's their fault. But in the test, I failed more than one time because of this shitty error. I didn't like it. Anyway, I think that for today I did everything that was needed, and so that's enough. We are going to head on. We didn't finish at all, and so keep looking at these videos, because there is much to do. Have a great day.